making a video. Deaf now. Yeah, so the Lyme symptoms are better. Yeah, my ears went bad again, so I don't know what that means. But, yeah, really deaf. Really. So anyway, so try. See how things go. Logic rolls the dice. Okay, so this video has nothing to do with my philosophy. At all. Nothing. Yeah, he puts my name in it, as if it has something to do with something I'm saying, and it doesn't. Alright, so let's just go through this again. The simple argument being made is that whatever this sensation thing we have is, it doesn't matter who's doing it. It's all done personally by individuals, yeah. And there's no logical reason to think my consciousness is special. So if I make sure that this consciousness doesn't do the less than nothing thing, the suffering thing, if I give me Novocaine, there's no logical reason in the world to think I shouldn't give it to somebody else, or that I ought to do it, because exactly the same thing will happen if I don't. Suffering. But that's the problem. That's the bad thing happening, is the pain and the suffering. And I don't think there's a logical way to escape that simple truth. If the suffering I'm having is bad, their suffering is bad, it's all the same sensate experience, and there's just no logic otherwise. Now, they keep using words like moral obligation, all this kind of stuff. No, I'm saying there's a logical obligation of consistency. You treat the same thing the same. If you're going to treat the same thing different, you have to have a reason to do that. And I'm saying the only reason is your selfish desire to be a cunt. And that's it. There's no other reasoning except I'm a selfish, egomaniacal, self-obsessed motherfucking cunt. That's your logical reason. And it's not a logical reason. It's just the noise assholes make. The noise assholes make. Yeah. So anyway, I'll play some of this shit. I'll try to jump around. We'll see how things go. I've only gotten 2 minutes into this one too, so we'll see what happens. I just can't. I can't listen to this shit twice from these fucking. And I'm going to call this. It's just more lying. I mean, to keep talking about moral obligations when I keep saying don't use that word. I mean, it's just gotten so belligerent on their part.
Yes, consciousness creates value.
Yeah, value. It's not a value, okay? You can't say it is something and then say it's nothing. That's just bullshit. And a value in the sense that it's less than nothing. It's less than neutral. If you think it's more than neutral, then there's no conversation, and you go to the dentist and you say, don't give me Novocaine, correct? And you explain to other people how they're just wasting Novocaine, correct?
Yes, you have to be conscious in order to experience value. Yes, we can project value onto things, but it's the value that pushes and drives.
It's the value that pushes and drives, okay.
Feelings have value.
No, yeah, again, there's no point in using the word value when you mean it doesn't mean anything, when the value has no consequence. When you treat the valuable thing, positive 3, as if it's a 0, when you do the math, it's not a positive 3. If you treat a negative 3 like a 0, then it's not a negative 3. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. You're saying, yes, it has value, but I don't mean value in any kind of real way. I just mean some kind of silly word we use to describe nothing.
There are good and bad feelings. So far, I don't have any objection. But where I object is when Inmendham says that reason and logic can just recognize that everyone else out there is part of the
universe.
He uses a metaphor, I can't remember, chess game or something.
It doesn't matter what the game is. The game is being played in the universe. Call it pachinko. Call it Chinese checkers. Call it, I don't know, Risk. I don't care what you call it. It has pieces And we metaphor ourselves as one of the pieces, and then we have to justify how our piece is somehow more important than the other pieces. And in this game, quite obviously, there's no obvious difference. So just as a starting point, like I said, you want to come up with some sort of argument about how vital some people are and how unvital some other people are as a more contextual argument, fine. Added value argument, fine. I'm just talking about the basic gameplay.
The goal is to the goal is about the whole game or something.
The goal is about the whole game or something? What? Like it matters whether all the pieces get burned to death in a fire or it doesn't matter. Yeah. Yeah, that's the idea. That's right. All the little pieces have a value, little engine, and how you dispose of them is important. That's right.
However, I object to that in that experience is subjective.
So what? Again, so every time you can say just experience is subjective, that's right, it happens to individuals, that means it doesn't mean anything. I mean, it's just stupid. And again, it doesn't undo your hypocrisy of saying your experience somehow is worth Novocaine. I just want you to explain why their experience isn't worth Novocaine.
There is no objective goal.
Well, again, so says you, okay? And what's your reasoning for saying there's no objective reality that acknowledges the existence of anything called a real value then? That's all you're saying. You're saying there's nothing less than the neutral state. Nothing less than nothing. So therefore, yeah, okay, if there's nothing less than nothing, then why, who cares? If it's all just profit and you're arguing about whether you're a millionaire or a billionaire, yeah, okay, who cares? But you really think that's what is happening? You really think you have a rational argument to explain how this is all some sort of, oh, we're just profiting less? You know, as he says with his new sweater. Look, all the crease marks are still in his little sweater. Yes. Just took it out of the little package, I guess.
There's no goal saying that I ought to alleviate the suffering of others.
Says you again. Just an emphatic statement. There's no goal that says I should treat same. I treat myself, so if you're going to do it for yourself, then clearly you have some obligation built out of that itself. And just logically looking at yourself, you'd say, yes, it makes sense. Why be in a state that is less than neutral or nothing if you don't have to be? No logic in that.
Or even myself. It's just that...
Even myself. Okay, so here we'll get to this. It ought to be hilarious, correct? I can't help myself. I have to take care of myself because I can't. It's a compulsion. Yeah, it's not something you do ahead of time. You don't go to the dentist with some compulsion and say, I am compelled to ask you to give me Novocaine. You do it because you know it's going to alleviate your pain. You understand it as a truth, and that's why you do it. It's not some sort of, oh, excuse my erection. No, sorry, no sale. It's not like spontaneous diarrhea or something. You have plenty of time to contemplate exactly what's going to take place, and you understand perfectly well. Novocaine means no negative. No Novocaine means lots of negative going to happen.
There's a feeling that drives me to be...
It's a feeling. No, it's not an understanding. Yes, you have a feeling for Novocaine. Yes, I feel for it. I'm in love with Novocaine. It's an emotional thing. It has nothing to do with what Novocaine does for me. Yeah, that's what all the little rich bitches are saying, right? Yeah, oh yeah, I married him because he's such a charming man. Him having $10 million in the bank had nothing to do with it. Sure it didn't.
Pulsed and reduce it to act. But that's still me. That's still my consciousness. It's not...
Yeah, well, again, call it whatever you want, okay? It's a rational association, and you're just playing a silly word game here. Breaking language, keeping the language you like, and breaking the language you don't like, and that's all you're doing. for a selfish purpose.
Just because I can intellectually, yeah, that's my point, right? Just because I can intellectually recognize it's happening over there, why does that give me a moral obligation to...
Well, again, you keep saying a moral obligation. I'm saying it's a rational, logical obligation. If it's the same thing that's going to happen, the same exact bad, there's no difference except, yes, it's happening in a different location. But it's the same friggin' thing. I mean, rabies 2 feet away, rabies 4 feet away. Oh, gee, it's rabies, jackass. I don't sit there and say, hey, the rabies here is so much more important than the rabies there. No.
Do something about it. I'm not denying that the suffering is...
Yes, yes you are. Yes you are. So quit lying. You're pretending that somehow your personal suffering, the suffering that's closest to you, is somehow the most important. Why don't you do that with planets or something? Why don't you do with that all the rest of the shit in the universe? That the only important things matters has to how close it is to your little nerves. How far away it is, the more meaningless it becomes. Well, not in reality. Not logically.
taking place. I'm just saying that I'm not experiencing it, so it's not driving me, it's not...
Okay, it's not driving me. Again, we're way past that as intellectuals, right? You've talked about reading all these books by all these people that are supposed to be smart, and you haven't figured that part out yet? That we have a thing called intelligence that allows us to understand model systems and understand entire networks and use words that reflect that. And you're just going to sit there and just deny all that stuff and say the DNA molecule didn't tell me anything about it, so therefore I don't know anything about these obligations or this system design or what's going on in the big picture because I'm an ignorant motherfucker. So why don't you change your name to ignorant motherfucker? Rolls the dice, because that's all you're saying you want to be. That's what you're aspiring to be. The DNA molecule didn't tell me I have to care, so there's no reason to be at all concerned about anything. Fuck you.
Motivate me. The whip is not experienced by myself.
Yeah. Well, gee, that's exactly right. I don't experience your pain either. Does that mean that I shouldn't be considerate of it? Your sensitivity, the fact that you feel and that you will have a bad day? I shouldn't consider these things as facts? So if I wish to grind up 10 people to make a hamburger, yummy, yummy, I should just go ahead because I don't feel their pain? That's idiotic. That I can think there's profit in it. I impose suffering on something else. I use it up for my gain, and therefore I've done something reasonable. I mean, it's just a denial of what we know, which is the bad will happen to them. Real bad will be experienced like by them. The same bad that I would be experienced if I had to do it. I wouldn't do it to 10 me's. So again, we're back to the same treated same argument. If I wouldn't do it to 10 me's, how can I justify doing it to 10 thems?
So why would it repulse me unless I already had some kind of feeling invested in it?
No, you don't have to have any of that crap. So again, just keep ignoring all these arguments that have been made 10,000 times. I'm not a vegetarian because I got all gooey and compassionate. Okay, I'm a vegetarian because I recognize the truth. That suffering is bad and that I'm causing it. This wasn't complicated. I didn't need to think they were cute. I didn't need to think I didn't need to feel a goddamn thing. All I needed to do was look at the bones and say, what does that really add up to?
The fact that reason can, the fact that intelligence can recognize the whole game, including me and them, that's still...
Well, you did. Before you're claiming there was nothing there. You're saying that the biology has to give you a feeling. Well, let's see what he says.
It doesn't give me a reason or obligation to do anything about it.
Well, again, it doesn't. I say logically it does if you know what words like sane mean. I say logically it does if you recognize the fact that the reason why you choose Novocaine isn't because you're horny for Novocaine or because you're emotionally in love with Novocaine or because of some other stupid reason. It's a clearly logical reason that you know the Novocaine will prevent the bad. Period. So just quit lying about it and pretending it's some sort of subjective emotional response when it's clearly calculated, logical, rational, purposeful collection of understanding that makes you choose Novocaine.
Unless I already value it. So feelings do create value, but they don't demand any moral.
Well, again, the feelings themselves don't demand anything. That's right. They're just either good or bad. And it's the logic that they're placed in, the model that they're allowed to function in. And once you understand that my negative sensations aren't any different than their negative sensations, that the sensation itself will be the same, qualitative substantially, in its negativeness, that there's no gain in me pushing it into their brain. If it's in my brain, I push it into their brain. I haven't accomplished anything.
Imperative. They don't command any moral obligation or ethical or what.
Well, again, you're talking about what feelings. See, you just keep playing games here. 1 minute you're talking about what we can logically and intellectually understand, and the next minute you're talking about what your feelings do, the feelings themselves do. The feelings themselves don't do a thing. All they do is create a state of negative or positive. Now, how you interpret those things into the real world is the question. And you're saying there is no interpreting into the real world because I don't have to apply intelligence to that circumstance. And of course, that's exactly what you do have to do to understand the truth.
Logical obligation. It's a really clumsy way of putting it, but okay. There is no imperative. There's no objective.
Well, again, there's no imperative if you don't consider hypocrisy a flaw, a logical error. So the imperative only exists as long as you keep treating yourself as if your feelings matter. That's where the imperative comes from. So when you stop preventing yourself from feeling pain is the minute you can stop worrying about other people's pain.
Goal. There's just feelings which create sensations which drive our behavior.
Well, again, drive our behavior. We haven't been driven that directly by a feeling for thousands of years because we're human beings that have acquired knowledge of how the world works. So for thousands of years we've been able to consider how my behavior will affect other people. So we don't, most people wouldn't say, let's all shit in the drinking water. I already had a drink, so now I'll shit in the water. Most people would understand, no, that's not going to work because, yeah, I'll make a bunch of other people sick. I mean, we're already way past saying, I don't have any feeling about it. Way past that. And you're just pretending we're still fucking monkeys and that the only thing we've learned about life on Earth is, how to build buildings or something. No, we've learned about a lot of things. We've learned about cause and effect.
Towards some end. But there's no objective end in the sense that you ought to avoid pain. There's no moral.
Well, again, you ought to avoid pain. So he's saying, so you're behaving as if that makes sense, and yet you're pretending it doesn't. So it's just a lie. Like I said, you're not going to be able to find some excuse that says, yes, I choose not to be harmed because I'm horny for something. I have some a desire mechanism that compels me. No, you are being motivated by your knowledge that the negative sensation will happen if you don't protect yourself, if you don't wear the oven mitt and you grab the hot plate. Okay, it's knowledge of the fact that you're going to get your hand burned and it's going to hurt like motherfucking hell. And you don't have any horniness for the oven mitt. You don't have some feeling like my hand needs to be inside a mitten. That's not what's happening. So to quit pretending it's some visceral instinct that's driving you, when it's clearly just an understanding of the truth and consequences. The fact that if you don't do it, the harm, the suffering will take place. And the same exact circumstance exists for the other people. And that's where the logical imperative is. So as long as you're putting an oven mitt on your hand, you've got to put it on their hand.
The commandment. There's no ought saying that, you know, especially with regard to other people, that you should reduce their suffering. That goes.
Well, again, then you shouldn't reduce your own. Again, the logic is built into the statement that until you can demonstrate why the experience you're having is exceptional, not personal, exceptional, different, okay? Not different in irrelevant ways, different in a meaningful way. So until you demonstrate how your sensations are meaningfully different than theirs, not irrelevantly different, you've got no argument.
Beyond the individual sensation. But anyway, enough talking from me right now. Go ahead and play this video.
Oh, yeah, so he plays it and then, you know, jump cuts it. So thanks for playing it. Yeah, we'll see if he paraphrased it correctly, which I doubt. I wish I could hear better. Fuck.
Individual sensation. But anyway, enough talking from me right now. Go ahead and play this video.
Experiences that are value rich, in that I have sensations that are decidedly bad and sensations that are decidedly good. These are facts. Asserted as facts. Factual assertions are what fucking premises are, you dumb fucking cunt. So this is my response video to Carla Della Stella, to be clear, her 1.5-minute text video. So that's the one he chooses to respond to.
Before I would probably object to that premises don't actually need to be factual in order to derive conclusions.
Well, I mean, shit. Okay, so we can do logic without facts, and that would make sense. That would be something other than game fucktardo. Oh yeah, let's do logic with non-factual elements and call it logic. We'll call it exactly the same thing. So exactly the same game you play with facts and non-facts, we'll call that the same thing. And that won't fucking destroy language some more at all, will it? That won't make language completely useless. I think everybody knows that the whole point of doing logic is to find facts, not to start with non-facts that you know to be non-facts. People would say that's a logical error. People would say that's a category error. Using non-facts in an argument would be a category error. Fuck you. So look, I won't waste your time with him playing my video, so on my parts I'll skip.
From given rules of inference and the validity of the argument.
Again, the validity of the argument based on a non-fact is called propaganda, I think. I don't know how you could not destroy the integrity of the validity of an argument if you used non-facts to premise it.
But that's just a nitpick. I'm just being a nitpicking cunt.
Right.
I'll just go ahead.
Yeah, well, you're a petty cunt. Skanky, fucking herpes-covered cunt, no doubt. So I don't know. Well, why did he choose this? It's not even. He didn't start at the beginning of the video. He just decided to use edited clips out of a video to a strange video response, a text response. These people are just so fucking desperate. Looks like the end of the video response, to tell you the truth. So yeah, and the Mo guy, if you know you're going to be doing all this ridiculing again, so you agree with Hothladay that it's infinitely better for somebody else to suffer than for you to suffer. So if you could take your pain and give it to somebody else.
Whoa.
Oh, he's going to protest. Oh, this is funny. Let's hear this. Whoa.
It's infinitely better for somebody else to suffer. Well, better to whom, right? Because
okay, better to whom again? I mean, really, it just doesn't matter. I mean, the whole point of the illustration is to point out if you're going to transfer your suffering to somebody else, you think you've accomplished something, right? It's an infinitely better world. Well, it isn't. There's no better, and that's a logical truth, okay? That's a factual reality that we exist in, and you're going to keep pretending the rest of the universe doesn't count when you behave. I don't have to behave considering the rest of the universe, and quite obviously I'm saying, oh, of course you do, because the other fucking things feeling are just as real as you, shithead, and until you demonstrate some reason why I should believe you are completely different than them in some meaningful way, you have no fucking argument. So again, there is no way to say it's infinitely better. And if you're going to keep adding that to whom stuff, you're, again, not arguing my argument anywhere near my argument or anywhere close to my argument. Because my argument isn't that value only happens to individuals and it doesn't happen in the world.
There's no...
I mean, the key phrase being it doesn't happen in the world. It doesn't happen in the universe. Yeah, it does, okay? The fact that it happens to individuals is a little bit interesting, but totally meaningless compared to the fact that it happens in the universe.
So, if you just... How do I say this? If you just look at the universe from a bird's eye point of view with no interest in any subject, just collectively, it can't be better or worse. It has.
Yeah, there you go. Well, duh. I think that's the entire purpose of having this intelligent modeling intelligence is to do exactly that. I think that's called being objective, asshole, is taking that broader viewpoint and seeing all the pieces and seeing all the implications and all the working parts and all the significance. And yeah, that's the whole fucking idea, retard.
To always be relative to an agent with desires, goals, priorities, values.
Yeah, blah, blah. Who cares about all that shit? The only thing I think that matters is whether they feel good or they feel bad. All this desire, goals, blah, blah, blah doesn't really mean shit. What they have decided to be their silly needs. Again, I'll just argue, if I can make two people, I can make them. I can choose to make one that's happy on $100 a day and one that can only be made happy if they piss through $100,000 a day. They're so high maintenance, they need all the flowers to be perfect, and there can't be a single smudge of dust, and there can't be this, or they're hysterical in tears. You know, because somebody opened the door too hard and they put a dent in the wall with the doorknob. Oh, fuck, life is over. So I have a choice. I can make some crazy fuck who can't be happy with anything other than absolute perfection at very high cost. Or I can make somebody who can get by with just a little bit of sunshine, little, you know, not being freezing, being able to hear. Yeah, logically, we know where you go.
Yes. Now, you could look at a universe with 1,000 suffering beings and one sadist. I know that's not the world we live in, but...
Oh, another silly thought experiment. One sadist.
The fact that this is impractical or doesn't reflect reality in this sense. The thought experiment... The purpose of the thought experiment is to show us... is to elicit some kind of understanding about where morality comes from.
Well, says you. Okay, I mean, I don't need to elicit some understanding of where morality comes from. I'm pointing out that from my perspective, okay, there is no such thing in the first place. It's silly. All there is the value of the welfare of the sentient creature. Either it's comfortable in a positive gain state or it's a negative in a less than neutral, less than nothing state. And the less than nothing state is unacceptable. So just do the math on the adding machine. Not complicated.
Or where ethics comes from. So it would be better for the individual, right? But the state of affairs couldn't be better unless it was relative to the interests of that person or some potential person who could be but doesn't exist. That's better never to have been, right?
I don't even know what this has to do with the subject.
But it has to be better relative to a standard.
It has to be better relative to a standard, right? And I'm just arguing in defense of the only rational standard I think that's available, which is the pain-gain thing. And the fact that, you know, pain is the real value, negative, and all you're trying to do is derive whatever we call comfort out of the price of this pain thing. So you spend, it's like going to the store to buy a sweater. I mean, there's a sweater, you know, made out of what? I don't know. 1 million dead chinchillas, and it costs $100,000. And there's one manufactured out of whatever, nylon and cotton, and it's perfectly fluffy and sensible, looks exactly the same, wears the same, blah, 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 blah. And you can even throw it in the washer and dryer, and it comes out just fine. One's $10, one's $1 million. Which one do you buy? Well, if you're fucking rational, you buy the $10 one.
I think you've accomplished a good in the universe.
A good in the universe. See, and I reject. It has to be relative to a feeling.
Well, again, the point of the statement that you cut in half, okay, right, is the point is I take my pain and I give it to somebody else. And now I've accomplished a good in the universe. And you've already conceded that that's not possible. So why don't you just say now, well, yes, if you're going to count the entire world as being a real thing, then yeah, that wouldn't make any sense.
I'd say I'm more consistent with feelings having value than you are, right? Because the universe doesn't feel.
Well, again, who says it does? So again, this is another accurate paraphrase of Inmendham, because Inmendham says the universe feels. When did he say that? Where did he say that? Where's the quote of him saying that? What Inmendham just said was, you can't take your pain and impose it on somebody else, and the universe isn't infinitely better off. Not even close. It's in fact not improved at all.
The fact that you can recognize there's more suffering, feeling things in this universe and there's less in that universe. It's neither good or bad. It has to be relative to the individuals.
Well, again, says you, dogmatically with no evidence. You're saying somehow it doesn't matter what they feel, it just matters how they think about what they feel. And I'm saying exactly the opposite. It doesn't matter what they think they're doing, it matters what they're feeling in the end. The feelings are all there are, the experiences, qualitatively. And it doesn't matter whether it really doesn't matter whether you're having a good time contemplating a woman's knee or contemplating a man's knee or a dog's knee. It just doesn't matter. If you're getting off, you're getting off, and the getting off part is the part that matters. So you want to say it somehow matters who you love and how you love, and it matters whether the ballerina steps in all the right little places and does all the right little duty. I'm saying that shit doesn't make one goddamn bit of difference. All that matters is whether the audience says, oh, that was brilliant. I love that. That was fun. That's all.
You can't just do this sort. You can't just do this neutral sort of bird's eye assessment of this group and that group. Yeah, no. It has to be relative to the individuals.
Yeah, it says you again. You made this shit up. Okay, so you're taking these two scenarios and you're saying it matters to the individual. So if I'm doing some laboratory experiment on 5,000 rats over here and 5,000 rats over here, and these rats are all suffering, and these rats are all fat and happy and just sitting there sipping soda, I have to go ask the rats to tell me whether or not I know what experiment's going well and which one's a complete fucking disaster. No, I don't, fuckhead. That's silly. Keep saying more silly stuff. It's funny. Ha ha ha! And the great thing is this will never go away. I mean, for the rest of your life, you're stuck with this stupid crap you're spewing. And you're spewing it kind of arrogantly. You know, so that makes it even better that you're spewing this stupid crap in an arrogant manner, and you're pretending I'm doing philosophy. I'm intellectually superior to all these other people. Blah, 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 blah. In your brand new little stripy sweater. And this is you're stuck with this nonsense drivel. Don't overview. No, ask the individual participants. They know the truth. I should go ask whatever Bubba fat cunt, you know, what the meaning of life is, because somehow if she thinks whatever she thinks it is what it really is. No, I don't think so.
And or not in that group. It's not. It would be good for a sadist for there to be more suffering than not.
Well, again, you know, bring up the aberrant human behavior, the sick, psychotic behavior, and use that as an example. And again, it's not really an example because we already know psychologically that they're enduring it because there'll be some other payoff. So they're not really sadistic. They're not really looking to have suffering. They're looking to have gain. And they just have defined gain in a different way than we would, I would, because they're so horny for accomplishing the task. So when people endure the suffering of climbing a mountain, you know, they do it because from their calculation, the payoff, the gratification will be so great, the orgasm, whatever they're after, that the risk is worth it. There's people who have sex in this, you know, kind of risky manner, because they think it's going to be worth it. Tattoos. People have tattoos. They hurt. They're uncomfortable. But the satisfaction they're going to gain from having this, whatever, label on them, well, this statement on them, will pay for the price of that pain. They would feel more pain not having it, is the point.
Others. The sadist isn't illogical. The sadist isn't acting unreasonably. He's not.
Well, again, the sadist who's enjoying somebody else's suffering, that is clearly a psychological phenomenon, not an intellectual phenomenon. So comparing somebody who's not using reason and is using what is broken psychology, I'm sorry. If you think that's what's called a logical argument or an intellectual argument or a high-minded philosophical argument, the argument from what the sadist feels, no, sorry. That's not even close. I mean, there's plenty of sadists who don't act on their sadism because they know it's bad. There's plenty of pedophiles who never touch a child because they know it's wrong. So let's not pretend that people's emotional character has something to do with this conversation, because it doesn't.
Saying that his feelings are more valuable or more worthy than the others as some sort of objective fact that is in the universe.
Yeah. Well, I will say it's an objective fact that somebody's the conditional desire that the sadist has, like he wants to watch. Like I could want to watch a movie. And I can find out, oh shit, I don't have a copy of that movie, I can't watch it. And I could be disappointed, but it's not a tragedy. And it's certainly nothing like the tragedy of somebody having their skin ripped off and have their eyes poked out with a nail. So if the sadist wanted to watch the live drama of somebody having their skin ripped off and nails driven in the eye, it's clearly, okay, not a desire, not a gratification that would be worth the suffering cause. So there'd be clearly, just as you conceded before that I couldn't transfer my pain to somebody else and expect there to be gain in that, there could clearly be no gain in creating tremendous torture to satisfy a minor entertainment desire. That would be ludicrous. So now you're just equated major torture with a minor entertainment desire. Bravo. Fool.
But he's just saying to himself. He's not saying that he's worth more than those. It's not even a question of worth. His action.
Well, again, it is for somebody who's taken the subject seriously. So again, I'm not a philosopher in the sadist sense. Okay, I'm a philosopher in some smart person kind of sense, who's doing reasoning and who understands the difference between a thought and an emotion. So yeah, I'm not talking about what I feel at this moment or what I feel about words when I hear them, or whether they give me a you know, a ooh feeling or a feeling. Yeah, no. Silly person.
Things just are what they are. He's not saying, as a sadist, that he's not saying that he matters more.
Well, he is if he acts on it. The statement is clear. So if he acts on his entertainment desire and actually imposes torture, then he is saying quite clearly that even his minor entertainment desires are worth more.
He's not saying that. But even if he did, it would...
I mean, he's saying it if he has like 10,000 words of vocabulary and he's doing it. I mean, come on, our vocabulary isn't that broken. There's just no way you could be cognitively in the world without overtly kind of saying it if you do it. So if you act on it, you're basically saying it.
Be illogical or unreasonable. He's just acting out with his desires.
Well, again, that has to be placed in the context of reason and logic. You don't act on desires. We don't piss anywhere we want to piss. We don't shit whenever we feel like shitting. We have completely moderated all of our desires. So to say that because he feels it, that we have no obligation to put that in any kind of civilized context where we as human beings recognize we're not dumb animals. We're not lions, okay? We're not salmon swimming upstream. We know what happens when you go upstream. All right? Salmons don't. Lions don't know that the things they're torturing are real feeling things. They don't understand conceptually. We do. All right? And that's what philosophers have a conversation in that context. So if all your brilliant German philosophers don't understand that we're not dumb lions on the plains anymore, and that we've actually have some understanding of how the world works, the globe, and how evolution works, well then I guess they're all dumb motherfucking cunts like you.
The universe is now infinitely better.
Again, better in what sense? Better.
Yeah, better in the sense that I just look again. You fucking cunts who sit there and complain. I've never done this to a video, right? Where he has lost all context, and now he's responding to statements as if they were made independent of any context. The sentence I was saying that he's now turned into 8-minute sentence was, you can't take my pain and transfer it to somebody else and think the universe has been improved infinitely. You can't even think it's been improved at all. That's the context of this statement.
Better in the sense that there's less suffering, but it's always with...
Well, see, there isn't less suffering. That's the whole point of what I was saying. So again, you just lost all the context of my statement, and you're calling this a fair paraphrase. The question is the universe improved if I take my pain and I just give it to somebody else? Clearly it's not.
Respect to whom, right?
Respect to the condition of sentient life on planet Earth. It is in a less good state. Period. It's in no better state. If I just transfer my pain to something else, it's not an improved universe.
Sensations are either better or worse. States of affairs only with respect to the individual who could otherwise suffer and exist. Potential persons.
Well, again, so this has something to do with the video he's claiming to respond to, right? No, it doesn't have anything to do with it. So bravo. Another fucking propaganda piece created by these assholes who can't paraphrase honestly. They can't respond to a statement honestly. All they can do is nitpick some kind of bullshit, like I said, hippopotamus wrong.
Benatar.
And you're going to argue about what is logical? Fuck you. Alright, There's enough of this.
I don't even think.
So again, he takes the last minute of a video response and calls that, oh yeah, I did it. I fair copped him all over the place. Yeah, sure you did.
I don't even think that these questions are even matters of logic. I don't know.
Oh, it's not a matter of logic. The question of whether you can improve the universe by merely taking all of your negative liabilities and imposing them on somebody else. That's not a question of logic or significance at all. Why should we be bothered with that? Haven't we, the rich, white, elitist, motherfucking inheritance cunts, been living off of this wonderful system for a long time? Isn't it all spectacular? Yes, let's just dump all of our burdens on those darkies over there and say, fuck you. Because that's the way to live. That's being civilized. And properly German.
Like, it's not illogical to prefer the suffering of 1 million people. When you fully recognise that they are worth just as much as you are, and you just don't give a fuck.
Well, I'm just saying, if you recognize that the 1 million people are worth 1 million of you, then you might have it somewhere close to the truth. Yeah.
You're not intellectually deficient. You fully acknowledge, you recognise, but you're not placing value on it.
Right. To demonstrate that you're not a hypocrite, you're not placing value on you either. So when you start to not place value on how your sensate experience is decided, so as soon as you stop just pretending to care whether you have a properly creased sweater or a stain on it, or until you stop caring about all the little bullshit that drives you, buddy, then you can make this argument. But until that time, until I see you stick your hand in the boiling water or go to the dentist and get no Novocaine, you're just a fucking screaming hypocrite talking absolute bullshit.
Now, you see the values in the experience. Yes, but it's always to them.
Well, again, you can keep saying it's always to them, but guess what? You're a them too then. Okay? From any kind of rational perspective, you're a them. So if it's to them and it doesn't mean anything when it's in them, then it doesn't mean anything when it's happening to you. And so why are you paying attention when it's happening to you when you're just a them? And again, I mean, there's so many ways you can just argue this. I mean, they're just using this to them thing to pretend there's a distinction. There's no distinction. Again, it's not a significant fact that it's a them. It just isn't a relevant fact in any way. It doesn't make the thing different in any way. If I have a dishwasher or a washing machine and I call it Joe, and then I have another washing machine over there and I call it Jim, the fact that they're called Jim and Joe is totally irrelevant to anything significant about their washing machine-ness.
It's not like there's the universe is suffering because...
Again, who's arguing that the universe is suffering, liar? I mean, this is just a lie, right? I mean, it's only been said at least now 100 times by me. I'm not claiming the universe has a brain. I'm not claiming the universe has a sensate experience. I'm not claiming the universe gets emotional and has a crisis when the things in the universe are in pain. That's not the argument, jackass. What my argument is that we have a brain, that we can recognize the value of sensate experience, and that we can be non-hypocrites and recognize, I certainly know it's important when it's happening to me, and I can logically understand it's important when it's happening to them. Shit! That's the argument, fucking liar.
It has more suffering in it than not. I know that's...
Yeah, I know that's a preposterous straw man. I mean, so preposterous. I mean, after you've said those exact words that I don't think the universe has a brain 100 fucking times, I know that's a most preposterous straw man I could fucking throw into this argument, but maybe I can find one that's even more preposterous, so let's wait and see. Fucking cunt.
I know what you're saying, but I'm reducing it to something that absurd.
Yeah, I'm reducing it to something absurd for what? The purpose of my propaganda and nonsense. Let's see if I can confuse the fuck out of everybody. Fuck you.
Because I'm essentially making a mockery of your position, because it...
No, I will make a mockery of your position. And like I said, you're going to have to live with this for the rest of your fucking life. The rest of your fucking life on this earth, you're going to have to live with the fact that this is what you did with your youth, you little creep. You fuck.
It sounds like pretty much, I mean, it would...
Yeah, yes, it makes a mockery of my position. I say the word, it's happening to them, and that just mockerizes anybody's position. Yes, that's the golden fucking Ayn Rand rule. It's a them. Who the fuck cares? Yeah, I got it, bigot.
That's the only way in which it would make sense, right?
If there's anything else I have to take care of. Oh, this stupid move.
Again, yes. So he's making a mockery. This isn't a propaganda piece at all. Like I said, take the end of a video.
Thanks, guy. All right, I will have to get to him. All right, so somebody spammed his comment because it, good, because it was a piece of shit. All right, so in my last video, I described
This is
the one
interesting.
before last. I think, well, whatever. No, the what the fuck video. I used the theater analogy. Now, I didn't say anything about Cartesian theater. I didn't say anything about a homunculus. I didn't say any of that shit.
Well, it's the same thing.
Oh, it's not the same thing. So again, just keep lying, fuckhead. I have to explain to you again how it's not the same thing. A witness isn't the same thing as a doer. Oh, fuck you. What I'm saying is consciousness is a byproduct. Consciousness is not a significant element in brain function. It's the fucking noise an engine makes. I've said these exact words in videos, you little lying propaganding cunt. Okay? That consciousness is just the noise the engine makes. Okay, to have the engine, this is what you end up with as a byproduct. And what our brain is doing is two functions. It's creating a synthetic reality as a bunch of programming bits, okay, a bit of processing, okay, that creates an image of reality, so to speak, a sensual image, and then it adds to it any flavor it wants to. It creates the very notion of flavor, of value flavor in the sense of sensation. Comfort or discomfort. So it applies comfort and discomfort to the image, and then the other brain reacts to it with a solution because it's reacting to the comfort and the discomfort. That's what it's seeing. So instead of seeing reality as it is, boring and stupid, it's seeing reality flavored with this understanding that comfort and discomfort are important. And that's how our world is valued, jackass. And the homunculus, the witness, is just sitting watching it. He doesn't have any role to play. He doesn't have any possibility of doing a motherfucking thing. Consciousness just watches it happen. So don't tell me it's the same thing, fuckhead.
He's just using I assume he's read Daniel Dennett's book, Consciousness Explained. He's just using the terms and metaphors that he uses. But essentially, given that I know both that new Phoenix guy and what your position is and what Dennett's position is, as the sort of umpire, what Inmendham means by theatre is the same as what Dan Dennett means by...
Well, again, you're lying, okay? Because Daniel Dennett creates the homunculus. Daniel Dennett's argument is you're just... reductio ad absurdum. You're just creating another brain inside the brain, inside the brain, inside the brain, to a doer. And my argument is that no, there is no doer. There's just the configurations, and we're just stuck with this byproduct called the conscious experience. But the point of the creation of it had nothing to do with creating consciousness. It just had to do with value-enhancing behavior. Value tainting perception. So it got value tainted, and to make the bowl that all this stuff smashes into, that it gets mixed in, the ingredients get mixed in, the bowl ends up being consciousness. That's my argument, fuckface, and it's not Dennett's argument, you fucking liar!
Like Cartesian theory is the same thing. It's basically this metaphor for how it is that we feel when we look out at the world. We feel as if we're in here and everything's out there, and it's like there's a simulation of, you know, colours on things. And yes, okay, yes, fine, values projected on feelings, there's repulsion, there's this, there's that. But it's still to the subject.
Well, so again, so he's turned consciousness, which I claim to be something that has no to-ness, it can't do anything, so it can't be to it, because consciousness can't do anything. It has to be to a subconscious entity. Yes, your reflexes. Anyway, it just doesn't goddamn matter. I mean, this is just such a fucking piece of shit slime. You fucking, I mean, you know, if you can make such bold accusations about it's the same difference, then I can start doing the same thing to you if you want me to. I mean, I can make comparisons between you and certain creeps that walk the earth and just point out, same difference. Look, he's wearing a fucking sweater with creases in it. We already know what that means.
I've already made videos on this over and over again, and with the modern mystic also, and described in a lot of different ways how our brain functions.
On to part 2, I guess. It's just going to get worse and worse, I suppose. I don't know why exactly it was cut into 2 parts, but whatever. At that moment, but whatever. Yeah, whatever. So the other video, maybe I'll watch it and just paraphrase the fuck out of him. Really badly. He didn't even paraphrase me, right? I mean, he's playing my video, but it took so long between the words in the sentence, he didn't even realize the context of the sentence anymore. I mean, amazing. Anyway, fuck these people.